I ran out of memory on the computer, so it just put off. So for the 2025 people that actually watch this, sorry.
There he still is.
Finally!
As you breathe in, the odor comes over you. It's a smell of the mind telling you to run, and your stomach to wring itself empty. With your hands at your sides and your eyes squinting, you stand in it.
They do after 7 days, yes. We are deep in decomposition here.
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of iron and enameled boots. The material appears to be ceramic. Its clean white stands in stark contrast to the decaying flesh above the knee. The man wore thick polymer socks, probably for padding. A fine array of interlocking plates covers them. Delicate and fragile, they feel alien to the world around you, out of place somehow. These are clearly not boots. They're armor, possibly part of a larger set.
Indeed. Technically speaking, these are sabatons, ceramic plate, zirconium dioxide most likely. Under the heel, fair weather model T500 VE. I'm guessing that's vitreous enamel. This is advanced stuff. Piece by piece. He's been out here for 7 days. It would be odd if they didn't. We should keep a lookout for these species. Their armor could yield information. This is one thing he might actually know.
The sabatons dangle off the man's decaying form. Ageless and synthetic.
It's expensive. We've requested similar material for our tactical units for years now. The constabularies deemed it too costly. In that time, we've lost 6 men to semi-automatics. For a full set, about 4 years of wages.
For the northwest region of Revachol, an officer's average yearly income is 5,500 real, unadjusted for rank.
Not too much, yes. It's a sorry situation, I agree. You work for Cronel, like Joyce told us. This is military equipment, provided by a wealthy security contractor, with state ties, way above what we have.
A small bell-like sound fills the air, like tapping on the side of a porcelain cup. The pry bar in your hand is itching for some action.
It's anything but. This material is a kinetic redistributor that spreads kinetic energy horizontally, from plate to plate, dissipating it entirely. See?
Organic lines cover the plates where they separate into smaller ones. These plates then divide into smaller plates until there are hundreds of them altogether.
Oh, wow.
Like walls of floorboards. The design looks organic, influenced by highly resistant wood materials, like lignum vitae and ebony perhaps. If trees were made of porcelain, this is what their cross-sections would look like.
That's cool.
The smooth, glossy surface fractures into ever more intricate interconnections, peaking on the right sabaton, where you notice the whorls are in the shape of a letter and number combination E50, 100, 1000.
Good. Can you read it to me?
X5415 6745 678222. Let's lie.
We have a make and a number. That's something. We can use the radio in my kinema when we're done. Either station can chase it for us.
It's the pry bar in your hand.
It's anything.
Like whirls of floorboard. The whirls are in the shape of a letter and number combination E50, 100.
Good.
X5.
That doesn't sound like a serial number. Where's the structure and logic of a line of manufactured products? Oh, no matter. We should run it anyway.
True. It didn't have the cadence and logic of a real manufactured item.
Officer, the decomposing corpse has temporarily suspended my sense of humor. Let's continue in a less playful manner. We have a make and a number. That's something. We can use the radio in my kinema when we're done. Either station can chase it for us.
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt, his torso covered in tattoos and extremities blotched pink and blue. The hangman's knot is pulled tight by the weight of the corpse below. Yellow, hard-edged polyester cuts into his neck.
Yeah.
Above, a sliding buckle ties the belt to the branch. This is a steel-reinforced cargo lashing belt. Big brother of the regular cargo belt. It's used for tying cargo under 6-rotor airships.
Airlifting. I thought it was used on lorries for strapping cargo to them. The local harbor uses 6 rotors to shuffle containers around. I get the sense they use whatever was on hand without paying much attention to not incriminating themselves. I was afraid it would be. Thin steel wiring, parallel strands. This makes getting him down more problematic than I had assumed. Right now, everything seems to fit their confession. A noose is one of those things that's easier to use one way around. That ladder can't carry a grown man.
So how
I
did he do
didn't
it?
see any splintering either, did you? I think they lassoed the branch, then pulled on the belt to close the buckle.
The shape of the branch supports the theory. The cadaver hangs from the cargo belt, limbs limp. An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso, from the right shoulder to the solar plexus. Each time they intersect, a small white star is formed in their crossing. Hundreds of fading asterisks riddle his skin. Their concentration is highest around his heart.
A map of the stars. I do see some similarity to astronomical charts. Great Century Messinian, maybe. But this seems more particular. Customized somehow.
As if someone left out most of the night sky, filtering it through personal choice. The principle of this filter remains unknown to you. The thought dissipates, and you feel as though you were only half right.
So am I.
He wears a wide leather belt around his waist and a gun holster under his arm. He takes a thin piece of milled aluminium from his coat pocket
Oh,
and
wow,
pulls
he's
it
gonna shoot.
open. Sounds like a sword being unsheathed. A small lens
Oh,
appears.
camera.
Some sort of camera.
A triggered sunshine.
Triggered is the world's leading manufacturer of intercommunication devices, primarily projectors. The camera before you looks familiar somehow.
Shit, Kuno! What the fuck is that?
An instant color camera.
This is the first time he openly acknowledges the kid's existence.
I have only 2 ampoules, so nobody move. I don't want to waste one.
A sound, a shrill flash, followed by the breaking of a small ampoule of glass. You see streams of color pour onto the thick, glossy piece of paper, rolling out.
That is so...
In case we need it. Yes, it is pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh,
There is only one ampoule left.
It contains insight to the victim's person. This was a man of physical violence. The story he wanted his body to tell was important to him. It is sure, just don't lose it.
The glassy-eyed corpse looks by, his mouth mute and his skin as colorful as the chemical rainbow of the photo paper, teeming with opportunistic organisms. His eyes are milky white and blind to the world, protruding comically from their sockets. There is no one home, just
Disgusting.
subaquatic terrors there. Dark brown hair grows on his head. His face is ready to explode from the organic processes inside. The death's head grin has passed. What remains is an unrecognizable mess. Underneath the curdled meat there is an expression, not carried on his features, but below, inside, an expression of pleasure. This man was experiencing joy at the moment of his death.
never.
Why do you think so? Okay.
The corpse is dead silent. You have
Who is he? He is male, 40 to 50, with an athletic build.
the
We know who
corpse
he is.
looks right through you as you distance yourself from its stench. As you narrow your eye, this is a trick. You've done it before. Pink is where the blood settled in the first hours post-mortem. You can use it to see if the corpse has been tampered with. Does his position at the time of death match the discoloration?
No.
Only the lower extremities are pink with a dash of blue. His fatted hands, thighs, and his neck, just above the noose. The rest of the corpse appears dark green in the cold spring air.
I see it. His neck too. The lividity goes right up his chin. We have good, well-pronounced discoloration here.
The monster comes back into focus, an explosion of color, coursing with dark marbled veins. His stomach appears pregnant with something. Black liquid streams down his thigh and onto his boot.
Very disgusting.
So, what do you think? Agreed, especially on the neck. The belt acted like a tourniquet, keeping the blood in his head. The hypostasis supports a hanging. There's always a chance. We should check for ligament marks on his neck to see if they're in tune with the belt. We'll have to get him down first. I agree.
There are crow's feet in his eyes. He's laughing silently. His personality is no longer a part of the world.
Totally dead.
Hey, we're friends.
That sounds about right, yes. To purposefully mislead us. They must have hung him fast after that bullet hit. This is well done. It would have fooled me.
A pool of blood and feces has eaten into the frozen mud below the man's feet. Purge liquid is dripping into it, drop by drop.
The victim appears to have contained no more than half a kilogram of digestion at the time of death.
Disgust.
The fuck he's saying?
Talking about shit.
Did we? I don't feel lucky. I do. Most of them are post-mortem. Maybe even all of them. The delinquents have made our jobs harder with their little sport.
Stop talking in riddles, coin slot.
Coin
He
slot.
means you fucked him up good, Kuno. Fucked him up brutal like.
But there is no breath to catch. Only the cadaver filling the air and your nostrils. He slowly rotates before you, decomposing.
Are you sure we finished the preliminary examination of the cadaver? We might miss some of these things once he's done.
The cadaver slowly twists on the...
The steel-reinforced belt presents a unique challenge. I brought chain cutters, but I don't see a good angle of approach to the belt.
He doesn't actually think the challenge is unique. He thinks it's frustrating, annoying, and harder than he thought.
The cadaver is a good 1.2 meters up. Neither one of us can reach the belt without assistance. And even if we do, there's the question of cutting the airship strength material.
Yeah! Bang bang time, pig! Shoot his head off!
No.
How?
Shoot his head off.
Where the buckle ties the rope to the branch. That's a good spot to aim.
Where? Ah, yes, I see. If the shot hits that, there might be a chance to release the belt.
Yeah, now we're talking.
They'll miss! The pigs will miss, Kuno!
The lieutenant is undecided. On one hand, he wants to shoot some gun. On the other, it's an awfully stupid idea.
Honestly,
The lieutenant's brow is furrowed. He appears too deep in concentration to even notice what you said. Silence. With his elbow sharp, the lieutenant unzips his jacket and produces a lightweight firearm. He drops a paper cartridge in the barrel, separates the scouring stick, and gives the cartridge 5 bucks, securing it in place. That's a Kiel A9090 Armistice, mass-produced muzzle loader, aesthetic one of the most common firearms in the world. He then steps back and assumes the fellow's position, taking aim. The corner of his eye twitches. His finger is on the trigger. Is drowned in a shrill blast that bounces off the walls of the surrounding tenements. A cloud of smoke slowly pops in the air as the lieutenant steps back and says to himself,
God damn it.
a lot of things were wrong with that shot. The fellow Stess was the wrong choice. His shoulders were raised, but above all, he cannot trust his eyesight. He feels bad about his eyes mostly, just having bad eyesight, probably from a young age. Whatever you do, do not console him.
Idiot! Mookabat asshole!
Kuno could have hit it easy, but then Kuno's not fucking handicapped, is he?
Remain collegial, officer. It was an honest mistake, and I will not repeat it. No, we are lucky as it is. We didn't break anything, and the victim remains uncompromised. Any more mistakes could put us in an unfortunate position with the locals. We have eyes on us. I didn't do us any favors with that.
Kuno's sorry too. Kuno feels sorry for the Beano Cloud.
The lieutenant doesn't say a word, just looks at the gun in his hand.
I have to say, it's beginning to look unlikely we can get him down without assistance.
You know, you don't feel like too bad of a shot yourself.
It's bad as it is. Us shooting firearms like... Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. Just don't lose it.
They only have one gun.
This is the sorriest pair of pigs Kuno's ever seen.
Yeah, take it, you fucking banana pointer. Take it and shoot yourself in the mouth.
The cold piece of bakelite and gunmetal is surprisingly light. Your fingers fit right through the guard, instinctively resting on the trigger.
The fuck are you waiting for, Kuno? Tell him to shoot himself in the mouth.
The buckle comes into focus in your sights. You stand with your feet planted firmly in the ground and your left hand supporting your gun arm.
Why don't you just shoot yourself in your mouth? At least you won't miss.
Your field of view narrows. The branch slowly moves, becoming entirely two-dimensional. The metal buckle glimmers, catching the morning light as the corpse slowly rotates. The slow movement of the branch in the wind and your shoulders directing the gun sight up, dancing hypnotically.
Look, he's crying. You gonna cry now, fucking faggoty?
Come on.
The buckle explodes into tiny pieces, coming loose with a whir. With your hand numb from the recoil, you look at the body slump down. For a moment, the man appears to kneel in front of you, looking straight at you, helpless, trapped within itself.
Communism.
It takes a millisecond for the association to flash within your cortex. You have no idea where it's coming from, only that it's right. Then the rigor in his muscles gives up, and he smashes sideways into the spring mud, letting out a horrid stench.
Ace is high.
The Ace is High, a custom invented by the aerostatic brigades during the revolution, is used to celebrate success in Revolution, especially in sports. The gesture is spread across the world, despite the defeat of the revolutionaries themselves.
Go on. Yay!
The lieutenant takes a little hop to perform the customary salutation. Your palm hurts from the slap. It's precise and down to the point.
I knew these guys were
Kuno's cries sounds like someone strangling a seagull. It's
I knew you
We will perform a philosophy and determine the cause of death. But before...
Slumped on the
He's
ground
sick
like
too.
that has not improved the way the corpse smells. The fall seems to have released something deep inside it.
It looks like I feel like taking a break from the stench. I'm sorry to interrupt the jubilations here. Just a little breather before we do the autopsy. I would suggest we interview Everhart and Joyce, the leader of the Union and the Wild Pines Red, but we've already done that, so it's up to you, Detective. Take us where we need to be.
He trusts you have plenty of things in the task chain lined up. Searchlight Division.
Oh my god.
You've sharpened your senses by being on the lookout for missing persons. Now you notice more of what's happening around you. Perhaps, when you're done with this case, you can join the Searchlight Division of the RCM and find every Revacholian that's ever gone missing without a trace. There is undoubtedly a backlog of such cases, because you never know. A missing person could be just around the edge, barely out of sight.
Finally.
The rotting man lies on his side with his eyes looking straight through you. The belt is still around his neck. His body
nice
is
behind it.
supine and open to intrusion by autopsy.
Why?
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them.
What you do know is, at 18.9 kilometers, dormant shield volcano Corpus Windy is the world's highest summit, and the failed 38 single Puis Descent to crack the top 20 was the death knell of disco.
There truly is a time for everything, even create gardening gloves. However, they are lacking hygienically. I suggest you get in there in limited capacity. I'll ask you when I need you to. For the most part, maybe I should handle the contact.
It's gonna see through.
That's right.
You knew it because you inspected your ledger. The lieutenant is relieved you know the protocol.
I'm getting good friends with
When it's smart. The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. The corpse is indifferent to your
more
screen.
tequila sunset.
Just lies there. The next box says
KK57-0803.0815.
KK equals Kim Kitsuragi. 57 equals Precinct 57, followed by his date 0803 and time of arrival 0815 on the scene. He's indexed the case
But
after
like 4
himself,
days later.
not you. That's because he doesn't want to bring up the messy question. Initials.
And what would that make the alphanumeric?
HDB 41 0803. Help me out with the time of death. Let's say 13. Good time to start drinking. 10:15. It's under. Quite surprised you managed to come up with it.
We are absolutely
Lely. It's better than nothing. Write it down. What's next? Date of birth? NA. Roughly 50.
Dry 40. The damage is so extensive, it's better to err on the young side. He nods.
Mondial.
Fair to olive skin, from the Isola of Mwindi. This is as vague as it gets. You might as well say whitish. The
whitish.
pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Fucky!
Nailed.
Pigs can have sex!
Nor does he look pale, with his pregnant belly and indistinguishable face.
We're still going to March 4. 51. What happened? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10.
Wow.
Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
HDB 41 0802.1015 listens motionless with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
I'm not seeing anything yet, but we know there's tampering here. Write down, yes, non-visual, corroborated by witness. Good.
Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Then, somewhere in Jamrock North, a small wood shed behind Russell Brent's road, Lieutenant Nick Feuerbach puts his hand to the chest of a small corpse, no larger than a monkey. It's raining outside, light drizzle. There is darkness in the shed. Elsewhere yet, an obese female sits in a wicker chair, her silhouette board-like against the window. Outside, Grand Coudon. The day is turning dim for Sergeant Mac Dawson. Hand extended, he approaches, to make sure she is dead more than anything else.
Oh, this is just the
The
case.
building is tall, 7 stories, wind-wrapped in solitude. Most of the apartments are unoccupied. This was a suicide. The other, an accident. The small one. And so, all across Jamrock, Coal City, GRIH, 42 deceased persons found today. 42 stations of breath.
We should start the post-mortem.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and red briefs. The make of the briefs is Barodin, I think. Let's see.
See, it's happening!
Babrodin, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something
Thin.
more lurid.
The boots are stained. Big wheels and iron. Removal of the boots is left for processing. The boot has a serial number. It's E50.100.100. The lines between the plates are in the shape of the alphanumerical. The number is purposefully concealed by the design. Tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo, resembling a map of the night sky. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a Trigat Mini. The deceased has a belt for airlifting cargo around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Length 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end. Well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters.
Jesus.
Generally consistent with age 42. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature below freezing. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
The hair under your latex fingers feels cold to touch, wet.
Lividity appears consistent with hanging, but is not. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head and chest, consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity! You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max! Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest, consistent with predation. Ligature mark. The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the bell so we can get to the ligature mark.
You've got just the right tool for that. The hanged man lets out a joyous little bubble of rot from his nose.
Always good to think ahead. Now, we need to cut the bell to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you can.
See? My pig is gonna fuck his head off.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread rising from the east. The knot is the weak spot, the chain is fitting well. Steady now, like a flower arranger. 2 cuts and it should come loose. After some deliberation, you sink the cutters into the knot tying the belt together. You squeeze the rubber handles together, sweat forming on your brow. Snap! The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck. Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters. That he was dead. Yes, they moved fast. This is a good treatment. Chest is intact, normal contour. Abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact, genitalia.
No! It's gonna happen, see?
I fucking knew it!
This is clearly what they've been waiting for, ever since the autopsy began. The lieutenant is trying to make it as boring as possible.
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury. Not from where I look, no. But you're right. Your hunch was right. He was having sex when he died.
Talking about sex, he's gonna suck him off now. I know it.
The dead man's penis is average-sized, congested from the downward collection of blood. The testicles are uneven in length, hanging underneath. The genitalia is greenish. Marbling is present around the crotch.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip. In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
From wounds sustained over 2, maybe more decades, dispersal and accumulation indicates long and active combat duty.
We have a real museum here. Of battles, wars. Last item, hands.
The hand feels heavy, filled with decay liquids, like it's ready to explode if squeezed hard enough.
Gross.
You're suddenly repulsed. So much so you feel compelled to drop it.
Hands are clean. No sign of injury from struggling. Not particularly. Him being dead when they carried him over.
It is very hard to struggle when you're dead. Death is the end of struggle.
Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next? Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything in the central nervous system?
Of course, there is a moral to be drawn from it. A moral to this story.
What would that be?
The dead man looks, too, with barely contained excitement to hear the moral of his story.
I think that may well be the moral of every story, officer. Good. Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
It sounds like he's struggling.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous. You hear cracks as the lieutenant moves his sharp fingers inside the flesh, like the creaking of an old house at night.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact and remarkable. Respiratory system. Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen, hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth.
No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there. Sickly sweet air, unlike anything living. You feel like you're about to throw up again, straight in that mouth of his. It's hard. Once more, you taste stomach acid in the back of your throat. A contraction. Your throat pumps a little something from your stomach and into your mouth. You're forced to swallow, just to keep looking. Inside, you see darkness. Just a mess of meat and darkness. Silence as always.
Hemorrhaging present in mucus. Hepatobiliary, NA. Are you a hepatobiliary expert?
And what does it even mean?
Neither am I. That's it. Same for toxicology and serology, NA. Unless you have untapped reservoirs of knowledge there?
Reservoirs? No, but do they take obscure trivia and odd tidbits?
Like a toxicology screening? At this stage, I doubt processing will find anything, even if he was brimming with cocaine. But still, you should add a request.
Brimming with cocaine.
Cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. Hypostasis is visually consistent with the hanging. Gastrointestinal.
This will do.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila. What's next on the list? Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 feels. Leave a 4th one too. Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted. And your opinion, officer? Agreed. Next injury? So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath, the description of injury. 2 boxes.
Right. Next? Nothing. Just in case.
The corpse lay slouched.
All right. Bite a dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured. The cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible.
That's right. No clawing marks on the neck. No signs of struggle on the crime scene. And a witness statement from the perpetrators all confirm. Wound is post-mortem. Treatment. That's it. Field autopsy done, detective. All that remains is to see if the alleged cause of death, the bullet, is truly lodged in his brain. I'll leave that to you, colleague. Or to processing. I won't force you in there.
Oh yeah, finally. Let's get in there.
Seriously, I can just back him and drive him to the morgue anytime you tell me to. No need for heroics, unless you want to.
Your arm reaches out and your eyes close, as if by their own volition. It's dark all around. You feel cold, dead flesh through the latex glove. It's right under the palm of your hand.
Here we go.
His face, his cheeks, his nose, his fat, swollen lips. Like a rubber spider, your gloved hand crawls on his features. Everything is silent. all around. The oral cavity is cold and moist. A ball-like tongue attaches itself to the base of the mouth, lolling around like a scallop. The tongue moves freely in the cavity. The mucus of the mouth is slippery, fragile, even through the latex. From the soft meat, teeth are budding. Hard pearls of bone in the gums and in the back of the mouth. Can you feel it? You're so close. Rip his jaws open now. Look in. A vision of black and dark red death, pried open by your hands and studded with teeth. Looks like he's laughing. Death fumes rising from his throat. And there, in the back of his mouth, above the bell of the uvula, right in the soft palate, you see a hole, barely visible to the human eye. It is swollen shut, almost vanished. No larger than 0.4 centimeters in radius, the edges appear darkened. An abrasion collar. This is what we're after.
Abrasion collar.
Kuno is silent. A black trickle of liquid runs into his throat from the wound. Your index fits right in there. A tight tunnel of flesh opens up. Tissue damage. Wide enough for 2 fingers. As you push both in, you reach through his mouth, right into his brainstem.
Fucking disgusting.
The fuck is happening?
Ah, shit, see?
Yes, that's what this part is called. The basal ganglia feels clumpy. The bullet
Hanged
has
Man is the
torn
one
apart
talking.
his reptilian complex. This man will never sleep again. Never wake. Your yellow fingers slide into the remains of the limbic system. There is no resistance. It's gelatinous. The slug-like structures are damaged too. The tearing extends deep into both hemispheres. The lieutenant answers with the sound of his pen on paper.
Fucking cavity, see?
Quivering with awe. Your fingers are all the way in now, reaching toward the inside of his skull. The cavity goes further, but the entry wound isn't wide enough for the rest of your hand to follow. Your fingers reach toward his skull. His cerebral cortex feels like jelly. Cold
disgusting.
jelly. Strange fluid streams down your wrist as you push deeper until you feel it on the tip of your finger. Sharp, serrated material. The edges cut right into your skin. This must be the bullet.
I hope it is.
You pick the sharp metal bullet between your index and middle finger. With your face twisting from pain and concentration, all you need to do is just...
My pig's fucking got it?
What? What is it?
The inside of the head feels cold
Oh, he
and
likes me now.
smooth, like a glove. Sweat dripping down your brow. Careful not to lose the prize between your fingers. With a plop, your hand emerges from the mouth, covered in blood up to the wrist. Between your fingers, a small flower, a blossom made of lead.
Fucking beautiful!
A bullet.
The bullet falls in the bag, leaving a smattering of blood on the plastic. He raises the bag under his eyes and says,
A non-caliber rifle. Some kind of brittle alloy. Fractured on impact. No, you deserve it. We can log it later. We need to add an item to the injury list. Injury number 4. Oval entry wound with an abrasion collar. Soft palate, back of mouth. High velocity. Temporary cavity in brain tissue. Small exit wound on the occiput. How does that sound? Opinion, fatal injury. And one last thing. We should demand injury number 3, ligament mark. Treatment. It's obvious the Hardy Boys tampered with it. Yes, we should take a closer look at it. I am certain it has more to tell us.
This little thing could reveal much about the weapon that shot it.
Yeah, I think I solved it.
You really, really do. I am glad to hear you say that. Your room in the Whirling in Rags should come with a bathroom. Be sure to make use of it in the evening. We bag the
Got the
corpse
money.
and carry him to the holding pen of my kinema. I can transport him to processing myself, but I will be gone for the rest of the day. Work on the case. Tend to personal matters. Try not to do anything too dangerous. An officer needs backup in a neighborhood like this. I'll leave that choice to you. And one more thing. Great work, detective.
After you bag the corpse, Lieutenant Kitsuragi will leave the party until tomorrow morning. You can do side tasks, and even the main case, but it might be more difficult. Plan his exit accordingly.
The fish lips stay silent in response. You must be losing your mind, asking him that over and over.
I told you, he is male, 40 to 50, with an athletic.
I'm gone. Into the wild pale yonder. In the past, way out in the west. I'm a joke. Look at me. There is nothing funny about jokes either. A killer. A motherfucker. And a killer. Go ahead, Cobo. What do you mean? It's the power of your imagination. Go ahead. Ask me more questions. You fucking love questions. Because you're a copperoonie. Look at all of them go. Do you want more questions? Coming right up, copperoonie Rooney. This is getting upbeat now. Fuck no. You're no Rooney. You ain't no Tequila Sunset. You're probably just Harry or something. That's right. Harry. You might be onto something there. Because you have.
Ah.
Love did me in, Brother Cobo. It was love all along. Sure, Lobo. I can ask you a question. Why are you doing this? Looking at my face, motionless. Looking into my eyes. Standing here. Why are you investigating my murder? You're a lying sack of shit, Copo. You're doing... Looking at my face. I am all you have. Then you truly lost it all, brother. Let the world drag it all away from you. And what it left, you pissed away. Looking at my face. Ha!
The clown lips on the corpse appear to smile. Something is on its way. Something hidden. It's coming. A miracle from the northwest, and it's almost here. You can feel it in the air, on your hands. The cold spring air smoothing them over.
Do I remind you of someone?
A child born with Muller's disease, harlequinism, grown up miraculously.
There you go. Look at that bright kid. We're birds of a feather, you and I. Soon you'll be just like me. Just keep drinking and having a good time. It's a matter of weeks.
Feeling nausea, vomiting, tenderness or pain around the liver area, tiny red lines on the skin above waist level, more like days, Coppo. The clock is ticking. Your liver tells you so.
Huh? You're misquoting me, Rooney. I said communism killed me. Love did me in.
You really need to learn the difference, buddy. This is embarrassing.
Maybe I was getting my rocks off. It's a mishmash, Copabolo. You think I'm Messinian, don't you? For you, this is how people from Messina speak like. Well, I'm not from Messina, am I? My hair is too light a shade of brown. Trust your inner racist. You think I am. You think I was a racist because this lump looks military and has tattoos. That's called profiling. Do I look like an erotic auto-asphyxiation type to you? Captain Coppadromo, I fear we are drifting away, fixating on sexuality again. Let's go with a simpler question.
He didn't choke himself. You know it.
Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible, also, see me in your dreams. Shoot, Looney Rooney.
It's not even what it said.
Come back late.
All right. I will need a little help carrying him. You take the hands, I'll take the legs.
Oh no, Kim's gonna go.
The barbell waits patiently on the floor, like a dog for...
Am I,
An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso of the hanged man. From the right shoulder, it still kind of looks like a map of the stars in the night sky. But something's not right. Gone. For you to discover. You've gotten as far as you will without assistance. Someone close to the victim might know. Someone who knows about history could tell you.
Placia might be able to know. Do you know?
Hello. Okay, but please, only a few questions.
The woman looks aloof.
Book peddler. What's that? Down there. Hello.
The purity of snow always remains.
Let's go to the glacier. Time I've got the hoodie down.
The Coppernado is back. What do you want? Yeah? What?
He spit across in exactly.
Honest.
The man ponders his cooking utensils and gives you a little nod. The cook shakes his head and rattles off a sequence of undecipherable words. He then returns to his smoking.
Alright then. No!
Just thinking, what a nice day for questions pertaining to the murder investigation. Sure, do whatever you need to do.
Well, I said I can carry on the case without him and just try to do it quick. I've got 20 minutes.
The bullet is safely sealed away in a plastic bag bearing the RCN stamp. Kim has filled out the label on the bag with the item number, case number, and date and location the bullet was found. Beside his orderly handwriting, the bullet looks especially sad, like a tiny, shriveled head of cauliflower. The squished little thing has no idea. I know. You should find the gun that shot this bullet. That sounds like something a police detective would do. First, you should learn all you can about this little guy. Then find the gun that shot it and the person that gun belongs to. He used it to kill your victim. Neato. The squashed bullet has some sharp edges where the jacket has split open. It feels cold, even through the bag. You wouldn't ordinarily have cause to handle jacketed bullets. The citizens' militia uses cast bullets only. Little pebbles of metal loaded from the muzzle, usually in a cartridge. The jacket of the bullet is made of a yellowish metal. It has blossomed out to reveal a dark grey core. The base of the bullet is close to 5 millimeters in diameter. You can just about make out a few striations near the base of the bullet. Little hairlines, linear. It feels standard. It's quite destroyed. Some of the fragments are still lodged in the wound. What's interesting about the bullet thus far? A jacketed bullet, which would have been shot from a military-grade breech-loading rifle, not from a muzzle loader like those typically found on the streets of Martinez. Very interesting. You have an unusual military-grade bullet in your hand. Now all you need is to find a gun that could fire it. A rifle, Revolutionary period. Your bullet looks to be an old 4.46 millimeter from the surplus left over from the turn of the century. Probably an antique or a retrofitted antique. The 4.46 caliber was widely used with the Belma-grade rifle, a Revacholian manufacturer. The BM dominated the battlefields of the Insulindian theater of the anti-centennial revolution 50 years ago. No, but Zeliger, a major firearm manufacturer, ended up with a surplus after the war. So there are still a lot of these old military rifles floating around, usually broken. The quality was appalling. Antiques enthusiasts, guerrilla fighters in distant countries, a few lucky jamrock bangers. You're looking for a well-preserved antique, most likely. Back at the station, the lieutenant is standing at a counter, diligently filling out paperwork to hand over to a tired records clerk. You should share your findings with him as soon as possible.
I cannot. There's no way of contacting him. I have to wait until tomorrow morning.
Necromancer pig. That shit was dark. Going in there like that. Oh, brutal shit. Tell me. Kuno dies. You're gonna pick one out of his brain like that too. Kuno's gonna go out with a hail of bullets. Gonna look like a fucking porcupine.
Porta Rosa, a side alley of the Boogie Street spearhead. A young man in his early 20s approaches patrol officer Emile Mullins and asks for a cigarette. As Officer Mullins reaches in his coat pocket for the pack of Astra he just purchased this morning, the man shoots him point blank in his chest. Breathless, the patrol officer collapses in the gutter. His right hand is grabbing the armor on his chest. The bullet didn't pierce it, but he can't breathe. On the pavement, the patter of the perpetrator's feet growing distant. Bleed, pig. Someone opens a window and says, but Emile cannot see who. His sight grows dim with pain.
Pigs.
It's not Kuno. It's Kuno S. Kuno S is by far the worst of the two. Kuno has no problem being near you, but the other hides behind the fence, afraid for her life, like she's done something very bad. Also, Kuno hasn't stopped talking to you, even enjoys it from time to time. When you talk to the other one, it's like talking to a cornered animal. She only hisses and says murder was the case that they gave her. All in all, Kuno respects madness. You cannot hope to outdo her on that front. You must win yourself a few minutes with him alone.
Fuck you whispering about?
He's whispering too. He's going with it. But watch what happens.
Fuck you whispering about?
She puts extra stress onto that word, expecting it will make you uncomfortable.
If Kuno wants to whisper, he's gonna fucking whisper, okay? Let's whisper, pig.
This is it. You've got him. But be careful. You can still fuck this up. Don't make Kuno look bad in this.
Crazy? You don't know the half of it. She's not crazy. She's insane. Dangerous. She's smoked a man. She's done people in. Probably even pigs.
Stop talking to him! Kuno, I'm fucking warning you! You're gonna get us into shit!
She understands what you're trying to do.
Yo, see? Did Kuno not tell ya? Kuno told ya. Kuno talks to whoever he wants. Talk, pig. Kuno's got it under control.
You did it. They're separated. He's even turned his back to her, so she can't read his lips.
Kuno means she killed someone. That's right. She's a killer. Like, actually a killer.
His little green eyes are fixed on yours. He's meant everything he said before, but right now, he not only means it, he is sincere.
Killing is serious shit. Kuno's always serious about the 488.
488. The criminal code doesn't go higher than 190.
She's probably killed a pig too. I mean, I'm pretty sure she has. Forget Kuno said that. Kuno was just shitting. Kuno was just running his mouth. Kuno's stupid like that.
There's something cold in the air, like water lapping against cold stones, or dripping in a hallway nearby. 3 years ago, there were shoes in the corner. A cop would be too large for her to overpower, but a determined child of her size can still kill the vulnerable, the elderly, the homeless, or other children. The creature peers at you both from over the fence. There is something searching in her eyes. Kuno falls silent. He does not look at you when he replies.
Kuno, that's it. That's what Kuno is starting to think, yeah.
He usually looks you straight in the eye. A little something just crumbled there.
Yeah, she's psycho. None of that kiddie psycho. Cat burning shit. She does the real deal. Snuff radio shit. Believe me, pig, you don't want to know.
And he doesn't even want to think about it. This
Fuck knows. She says it's the song of her people or some shit.
Fucking mental.
Crazy people. The fucking Nakis. I don't know.
sounds boreal, like something from the tundra and tiger-covered Cutler, Isola. Far, far away from here. As far as possible, really.
Suroese? Like that man from Helmdall shit? She could be. She could be that Helmdall shit.
Revelshot does have a small Suroese community, or she climbed into a yakberry crate and was shipped over accidentally.
Fuck no, she's not my sister. She's just a stray who got in, like a mad dog or some shit. Yeah, she was just there.
What was that, Kuno?
She was in the hallway, dripping wet, by the fucking shoe rack, in the dark. Yeah, that's the place. She was just balled up near the closet, psycho style. Kuno's got no fucking idea. Her hair was all wet. I think she pissed on the floor too. She was there for 3 days, in the corner, every time Kuno went out.
You know this. The body goes into a kind of revulsion shock. Murder hangover. That's what it could have been. Killed a kid. Yes. Makes them look for a quiet, dark place and just hibernate there. Usually goes on for a few days, up to a week. Must have been her first one. You only get it on the first one.
I don't know. Someone left the door open. Kuno comes home. She's sleeping under the desk, under the pile of clothes, like a dog. Kuno's dad doesn't give a shit. Doesn't even see her there, or thinks it's fucking Kuno. Shit's all on Kuno.
Kuno-S, two of a kind.
Yeah, she would have liked to fuck him up, but she didn't. Kuno wasn't around, and C was with Kuno. Look, Kuno's gonna put you at ease. We didn't do it.
He speaks the truth, my liege.
'Cause she fucking looks like Kuno. No one knows her name. Kuno told you this shit was Psycho Killer. How's Kuno dealing? Kuno's dealing just fine. He doesn't need you fucking with any of it. C doesn't either. Kuno's got this shit under control. Listen. C is Kuno's go-to. Kuno's protecting her. You fuck with C, you fuck with Kuno. You threaten her, you threaten to take her away.
This is what it all comes down to. He needs you to take him seriously now.
I'm going to kill you. I'll run when you put the cuffs on her, sneak up on you later, and fuck you up. You understand? Alright, now we can do business.
He's breathing heavily. That took something out of him.
Yeah? What do you want? Kuno can hook you up with...
Don't hook him up with shit, Kuno.
See, relax. He respects the Kuno. Kuno made him respect the Kuno. You respect the Kuno, you get all kinds of shit. Remember when you tried to get Kuno to hook you up? We can get on that now. If you run a little errand for the Kuno, me and you, Kuno's gonna hook you up with illegal narcotics. See, it's tension and release with Kuno. Now we releasing. The pant buying shit, that's on now too. 90% discount for Kuno's pig. Kuno can flex. Kuno flexes for hobos. Kuno sees you're in need. Kuno gets it from his dad. Kuno and his dad are major suppliers. That's where Kuno gets his lightning on. Problem is, Kuno and his dad had a little falling out. Now junkies clawing at Kuno's door. Streets going mad. Kuno's got to throw his dirty popo man at it. Dirty popo man is you. In there is Kuno's violent dad on steroids. Kuno's dad does steroids and speed. If you can take him, you can have half of the speed. Kuno's dad is a fucking monster. He's the most violent man in Revachol. He doesn't give a shit about a single thing. He drinks too. Like half. A baggie, but like in this vial.
That's half a gram, sir.
That's not very much.
Yeah, half a G. Want it or not? Fuck you talking about half a G? This shit is giant grade A shit. So clean you can barely see it.
You can barely see it because there's barely any.
That's what I was thinking. Half a G's nothing.
Okay, Kuno's listening. Alright, pig. You can plug him, but you can't stop him. It'll only buy you time. Just get in the apartment building. Kuno knows you already fucked your way in. Kuno knows everything. Go to room 12, first floor, and kick down the door. Police violence style. Kuno style. Action time. You're locked in the room with violent fuckhead. That's it. Next time Kuno sees you, you better have his shit. The fuck about it? Kuno doesn't give a shit about the armor. That fucking had one thing majorly wrong with him. He's a fucking mutant.
What?
Do you remember how he looked? Fucking growth hormone shit. He's a giant. The armor's too big for any man. Kuno doesn't give a shit about that freak armor. Kuno threw that shit away. Kuno tried to get the helmet. Kuno kicked that shit in the sea, rugby style. That shit means nothing to Kuno. Yeah, that shit means nothing to Kuno. Kuno doesn't give a shit about material shit. Kuno's a fucking monk. You wanna fuck on someone about that armor? Fuck the moustache union fuck. The jolly troubadour shit at the gates. Yeah, cock and boot. You know that jolly union camp fucker? Came around talking about cows or some shit? Came around pretending like he cared about cows?
Yes, you met him at the gates. The one with the boots with a jolly smile.
Yeah, he's the one you want to talk to. He's fucking crazy about that armor shit. Coming here pretending like he likes cows. Trying to catch a peep at Kuno's armor.
Curious, my liege. Why did Kuno feed you this information?
Yeah, Kuno's doing charity today. Kuno Day. Kuno feels sorry for you, loser pig. Kuno's doing pity now.
Still, seems suspicious. He may have it in for that guy. Or he may be paranoid. That is also a possibility, sir.
Fuck are you talking about? What is this contusion shit?
He says you're stupid, Kuno. They want to make you stupid again.
Oh, did Kuno make your shit sniffing harder? Obstruction of shit sniffing. This is Kuno's kingdom. Kuno fucking rules here.
He says you're stupid, Kuno.
Words are fucking shit. Make you stupid. Kuno's got his own words now. Kuno words.
Has Kuno been to some kind of school? Probably a school for children with behavioral difficulties.
That's the past, pig. Kuno's not there anymore. Kuno did his time. Now ask about that pig corpse shit and don't go sniffing into Kuno's past.
Pigs come to take you back.
You're testing.
Get lost.
Kuno.
Fucking kid. Right, that's all sorted now. We have no money. But we have loads to do. And this episode's been going on way too long. So what I'm going to do... What's the date? I didn't play it yesterday, did I? I'm going to save over an actual save. This one. So, until next time, thanks so much for tuning in. Bye!